Okay, so exchange rates. Understanding exchange rates, there's two sort of parts to this. That's understanding how to do the calculations, and then also understanding how to analyse it. Okay, so what are exchange rates? The relative value of one currency in terms of another. So different countries have their different currencies, and if you want to purchase materials in another country, you're going to need to convert your currency to their currency in order to buy it. In which case, this is massively going to affect any kind of international business transaction. So, calculating exchange rate. I've put on an exchange rate here, which I just found today. So, 76 pence equals $1 US. So Great British pound 0.76 equals $1 US. That's the ratio, okay? 0.76 equals $1 US. What you've got to do when you see an exchange rate is understand which is the stronger currency. And once you do that, you'll be able to judge whether your results are correct or not. So here, it only takes 0.76 to purchase one. This is the stronger. And students will often go, oh, that's stronger because that's larger. No, this is stronger because it is requiring less pounds to buy dollars. Okay, so the Great British pound is stronger. According to today's exchange rate, the Great British pound is stronger than the US dollar. Imagine if we wanted to buy $20,000 in Great British pounds. So the case study could say that you're buying stock worth $20,000. The business needs $20,000, but first of all, they need to exchange their pounds so they can get the $20,000 and buy those materials. So what do they need to do to work out how much it's going to cost? Well, the equivalent value in Great British pounds must be lower than 20,000. 20,000 is representing $1 here. So what is that in terms of, it must be smaller. We know the Great British pound is stronger, so it's going to require less than 20,000 to buy 20,000, okay? So what we're going to do, we're either going to multiply it by the exchange rate or divide it by the exchange rate. One way you can remember this is just by thinking, we know that Great British pounds needs to be a smaller number. If I was to divide 20,000 by 0.76, I'm going to get a larger number. I'm dividing it by a decimal. However, if I multiply 20,000 by a decimal, I'm going to get a smaller number, and I can feel confident then that I've got my formula the right way around. So it's 20,000 times by the exchange rate, 0.76, which means it's going to take 15,200 Great British pounds to buy 20,000 US dollars worth of stock. Okay, and now I can analyse whether that's a good deal or not, whether I should buy locally, whether I should import that, or whether I should import somewhere else. Okay, so however, let's do the other conversion. Converting Great British pound to US dollars would need to create an equivalent value higher, okay? So let's say we want to find 350 Great British pounds in US dollars. Well, US dollars, it's going to be larger than the 350 because it's the weaker exchange rate. It's going to take more dollars to buy 350. So I've got to look at my exchange rate, 0.76, and this time it's going to be divide because I need to generate a larger number. 350 divided by 0.76 equals 460.53 US dollars. I can see that, you know what, that looks correct. My calculations are done. Okay, so it's either divide or multiply by the exchange rate, but you've got to understand which is the stronger. Okay, when analysing exchange rates then, what we're going to do is, it's only relevant to a business if they are importing or exporting. And you either have a strong exchange rate or you have a weak exchange rate. It's particularly in business papers when we're analysing it. So remember this mnemonic, SPICY, S-P-I-C and then double E, okay, a bit of artistic license there in the spelling, but SPICY. SPICY stands for strong pound, imports cheap, exports expensive. What this means is if we have a strong currency, it is actually very, very affordable to bring products in from abroad. However, when we export products, when our products are sold to foreign countries or businesses, it will be expensive to them. So let's use our common sense here. Importing is cheap. That's going to lower our cost of production. If we've got a strong currency, we should buy from abroad because it seems cheap. That's going to lower our cost of production. If exports are expensive, foreign currency is not buying much of our pounds because our pound's so strong. Therefore, to them, buying our products seems very expensive. We're going to see less demand for our products. Okay, if there's a high price, less demand. So we're not going to be able to export very well if we have a strong currency. Okay, so strong currency will mean importing is cheaper, e.g. cheaper raw materials will lower the cost of production. And then as I've already said, strong currency will make products expensive for other countries to import, hence exports expensive. Okay, if you have the other way around, so that's the situation if it's strong. What if the situation is weak? We just need to reverse it. So weak, imports will be expensive, exports will be cheap. There is a mnemonic that you can remember, which is WIDEC, but I don't find it as as easy to use as spicy, just use spicy and then reverse it. That's what I find best. So essentially, a weak exchange rate will increase demand for exporters. If we are selling products to other countries and we have a weak exchange rate, they're going to think our products are cheap, and therefore they're going to demand more. However, if we have a weak exchange rate, we're going to be looking at other countries' raw materials and thinking about buying them, and we're going to see the costs go up, because now we've got to spend so many of our pounds to buy their US dollars or whatever currency it is, and so those imports seem expensive to us now. So weak currency, importing is expensive, exporting is cheap. So exporters will benefit in that situation. Right, okay, so evaluations. Something to consider, exchange rates. If they're floating exchange rates, they will fluctuate over time. So potentially if it's good for an importer, bad for an exporter, this won't be the case in the long run, and it may correct itself in some way. So time is an issue. Another evaluation, businesses can adapt strategy to suit exchange rate conditions. Exactly, so if business is importing from Germany and they're converting pounds to euros, maybe they can seek other places to import from to get their raw materials. So you can always adapt strategies. And also, if you've got a weak exchange rate, potentially your business model, you were potentially selling domestically before, but it's now becoming more attractive to export. So just bear in mind that businesses can adapt where they're selling and where they're buying to suit what the conditions of the exchange rate is at the moment. And with the Brexit situation happening in the UK, the pound has become relatively cheaper. It's become weaker as a result of the kind of lack of business confidence. So essentially what we should see, according to Spicy, is, you know what, the exports are going to be cheaper. It's going to be more difficult to import products that we need, but actually we should see an increase in our exports because of the cheaper exchange rate.